Well, Samsung's back at it again with their 4K Neo QLED TVs, and in this video, I'm going to give you a closer look at the mid-tier model for the three available for 2022, the QN90B series. I'll be touching on the design and connections, sound quality, OS and smart features, the picture, and what's changed over the QN90A series from last year. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to click the link in the description after the video to see our latest pricing, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the latest products available here at Abt. Starting off with the looks, the QN90B gets Samsung's Neo Slim design, which is fantastic. Looking at it from the side, it's hard to imagine how they can even pack everything in there to make it work. The bezel's almost non-existent, and the pedestal is a single foot located in the middle, so it can fit on a variety of narrow TV stands. And for sizes, you have your choice of 43, 50, 55, 65, 75, and 85 inches, so there's an option available for almost any installation scenario. On the back are all the connections: two USBs, optical audio, RS-232C, Ethernet, an antenna input with a next-gen ATSC 3.0 tuner, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth for wireless connections. And of course, 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs, which are all capable of playing back 4K 120Hz content, and the 43 and 50-inch versions can even do 4K at 144Hz if you're hooked up to a compatible PC. This is great news for any next-gen gamers looking to upgrade their monitors to something a little more versatile. Moving on, we've got the audio. The 55-inch and higher models all have 4.2.2 channel 60-watt systems, which actually sound pretty good for stock TV audio. Samsung uses their object tracking sound technology to help the speakers follow the action on the screen, which works decently well. And their active voice amplifier helps the dialogue stand out better. But as with any TVs in this range, the stock sound just doesn't really match the picture well enough in terms of quality. So for the best experience, you'll still want to consider adding a soundbar or a surround system to really take your home theater to the next level, especially since a lot of the new Samsung TVs, this one included, can output actual Dolby Atmos audio. It's also got the Q Symphony feature to add depth when it's paired up with a compatible Samsung soundbar. For its operating system, the QN90B still uses Samsung's Tizen, but this year's TV gets a new Smart Hub home screen, which has a much more current aesthetic and is well organized with easier access to apps and suggested content than the last version, which I think people are going to enjoy. If you like the new versions of WebOS and Google TV, you'll like this one as well. For voice assistants, this one's got Bixby, Alexa, and Google all built in, so you don't need anything else to use voice commands. Plus, it also supports Apple AirPlay 2 and Chromecast. One feature I really like, and they've had this for several years now, is Samsung TV Plus. If you're a cord cutter, this is a feature you'll appreciate. It gives you access to 150 different streaming channels that don't require a subscription, and they continue to add more, so the list is always growing. Another feature that can come in handy is multi-view. This lets you play two different sources on the screen at the same time. You could be watching sports from your antenna feed and have a YouTube video streaming on the other half of the screen. Then there's the picture, and Samsung continues to impress. I know there are a lot of people out there who love OLEDs and are anxiously awaiting the release of Samsung's S95B, us included, but if you have the budget for that, you'll still want to check this one out. Right off the bat, the colors look great and the black levels get incredibly deep. Coupled with the brightness of the Mini LEDs, it's a picture worthy of its price. But there's even an option to use Samsung's Smart Calibration feature, which lets you use a compatible smartphone to run an auto calibration using the smartphone's camera. There's a quick option and a more detailed option depending on how in-depth you want to get. Either way, it basically gives you the ability to tune in an even better picture without having to pay for professional calibration. Moving on, light bloom is handled really well from directly in front. We did notice some as we moved off to the sides, which is expected on an LED backlit TV. However, the only time it really jumped out was when we were looking specifically at a light bloom test. When you're watching actual content, the QN90B's picture remains impressive even standing way off angle. HDR content, as you can imagine, looks terrific. The model we've got here is the 55-inch, which has Samsung's Quantum HDR 32X, along with all the larger versions. The 50 and 43-inch models get Quantum HDR 24X, which means they're not quite as bright, but trust me, they're still bright. They can all handle HDR10 Plus and HLG, but even with the addition of Atmos audio this year, there's still no Dolby Vision. Motion also looks great. I didn't find I needed to even have any additional processing turned on, although depending on what you're watching, you may want to test out the different settings to dial it into your liking. The QN90B had no problems with upscaling either. All the 1080p content we played back looked great. And gamers are going to appreciate the updated Game Hub. To access this, just hold down the play and pause button on the remote when you're on your gaming input, and it'll bring up the menu. From here, you can see how many frames per second you're running, you can adjust the input lag speed, you can even cater the picture processing based on the genre of game that you're playing. And those HDMI 2.1 inputs on the back offer variable refresh rates to help prevent screen tearing. So what's different from the QN90A from last year? Well, you finally get real Dolby Atmos compatibility. It also holds light bloom in check better, along with having more detail in dark scenes, in addition to having the option to calibrate the TV yourself. Viewing angles are improved, plus it gets the updated Tizen operating system. The QN90B is a great option for bright rooms. It handles motion really well for any sports fanatics out there, and it's still early in the TV season, but this is definitely going to be in the running for best gaming TVs of 2022. Yes, it's on the higher side for pricing, but you really do get what you're paying for. If you're thinking about picking one of these up, be sure to contact the experts here at Abt for our most current pricing and assistance with any questions you may have. We're always happy to help. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.